Today, we're going to go through market opportunities, some product features and benefits, different applications and how to identify them, and sales tools. Throughout that, Steve and I will take you through a couple different product segments. I'm going to start us off with one of Lenze's newest product segments, which happens to be the MDR, the motor-driven roller. From a market standpoint, we see very large volume with this market. In 2020, there were roughly 2 million pieces in the 24 to 48 volt horizontal conveying market, and that's expected to grow to 4 million or 4.5 million in 2023. So good growth, 15% over the last 5 years, and it's been taking more and more business away from standard geared motors. So we'll go through why that is and why Lenze decided to make an MDR in the coming slides here. So the roller market, why do we see that it's growing so fast? There's a number of reasons. First, the intralogistic, the material handling market is growing significantly. And as that market grows, the need for more and more rollers is growing with it. Second, when we take a look at the power that's needed in that less than 200 watt range, DC is cheaper than AC. Standard geared motors are being taken over with the MDRs, so you'll see a shift in what product is being used. And the rollers mechanically are very easy to install, much easier than installing standard geared motors, less maintenance as well. And from a skilled worker standpoint, there's a shortage in labor out there. 24, 48 volt DC is attractive because you need less skilled workers to install them. So Lenze's MDR, we'll take a brief look at that. It is different than what's currently out on the market for MDRs. We'll see that there's a permanent magnet motor built inside the motor. This allows for a magnetic gearing effect. So you're going to see high torque at the low speeds that are required for the application. Different than what's out there. Most MDRs on the market currently need a gear built inside the motor. So by eliminating the physical gear inside, the Lenze version, you're going to have less variation in what you're going to need to stock and use in the applications. We'll see that it's a compact, very efficient design. Power electronics are built into the roller, allowing for up to 2 times the power of conventional rollers that are out on the market. For applications, there's a number of applications out there in warehouses currently. The first on the far left here, accumulating conveyors. These are currently solved with MDRs, but they have a high variance and they're lower efficiency than the current the Lenze MDR. In the center, you'll see assorted belt and roller conveyors. Today, that's solved with AC geared motors. They typically need higher power than what MDRs are providing in the market today. And then on the right, cross belt sorters. These use low voltage DC geared motors with pulleys and a high variation in the drum size that's needed. Where we see the market going, kind of 2 steps with this. With the first release, Lenze will have an analog MDR. This will take over. We'll be able to use for accumulating conveyors and some of the assorted belt and roller conveyors that are out on the market. So between 20 and 115 watts in 4 applications where we're looking to improve energy efficiency and reduce the variance. In the future, we'll also have a digital version of the Lenze MDR with its own control card. In this case, we'll be able to target more of the market where we can target the cross belt sorters and more of the belt and roller conveyors that are out there. So we'll go all the way up past 220, 230 watts of power. And from a functionality standpoint, we'll be able to have positioning, master follower, PLC integrated, and IoT functionality. Taking a look right now, we mentioned the two versions. On the left is what's going to be available soon. We can get prototypes out to customers for testing at the moment, and we'll expect to accept orders end of May 2025. We're providing the roller, and it's able to be used with control cards that are currently out on the market. Most that use an M8 connector would be compatible, but we can always take a look and make sure that they are compatible. The future roadmap, the 0650 on the right has the Lenze control card, and there'll be more on that as we get closer to the launch of that product. From a final feature benefit for the MDR, we'll see up to 2 times as powerful than other MDRs out on the market, 57 watts at 24 volts, 115 watts at 48 volts with high efficiency. You can reduce energy consumption by 30% compared to other MDRs out on the market. And one of the more unique features is the quiet operation. It's the first thing that everyone seems to notice when you first install them. They're much quieter than what's currently out on the market. And finally, minimizing variance is probably one of the biggest benefits. We do that by having no gear, and then also having the flexibility for one roller to operate on either 24 or 48 volts. Kind of moving on, there's always more applications out there where MDR doesn't fit. So now we're going to shift to kind of AC motors, VFDs, and Lenze's decentralized drive technology. From a use case, we'll take a look at the simple horizontal conveying applications out there where you have either fixed speed with start stops or soft starts, or a few selectable speeds. These are very good applications for the Lenze smart motor, made to replace things like soft starters or simple applications like that. And it was designed specifically for horizontal conveying. As we get more complex, we have full VFDs that can get mounted to the motor or near the motor with our i550 Motec, which would offer variable speeds. And then i650 is a future-looking roadmap, which would offer positioning and programmability. A little more detail on the Lenze smart motor. You can see that it's built directly on the motor. The motor supply is 400 to 480 volt AC, and we're going to utilize 3 digital inputs and 1 digital output. So you can have 5 different speeds that are set with the Lenze smart motor. You do this with either an Android smartphone, an NFC using an app, or with a laptop connection. So very simple to program. We'll see that we can get a reduction in the variance with this as well. Using just a gear motor, you typically change the gear ratio to change your speeds out. This allows for simple speed adjustment and XL decel adjustment without making different variation and stocking different gear motors. And probably the biggest advantage of the Lenze smart motor is its 4 times starting torque. It's perfect for horizontal conveying when you're putting boxes on and taking them off. The starting torque is always where you need the most torque. It allows for a very compact package. The motor can be smaller than comparative motors without the smart motor on there. We do have a smart conveyor calculator that's available on the Lenze website. It allows for a quick and easy calculation to see what cost savings you may see by utilizing the Lenze smart motor over what's on they're currently using. We'll see if you go to the Lenze website at the top for online tools, the smart conveyor calculator will take you to this page where smart motor flyers, manuals, mounting instructions are located. And toward the bottom, you'll see the cost savings calculator with a few simple selections here. We can see what's currently used with either mains contactors, soft starter, or a frequency inverter. And then the total length of the conveyor, number of conveyor modules, cable length from the first drive to the cabinet, and then the number of projects per year. We can quickly see an estimate for one-time savings and an annualized savings. That gets broken down into your drive concept. We'll see a negative here. Upfront cost of the smart motor is slightly higher than what's currently used, but we'll see a cost savings with power distribution, automation, the electrical cabinet, engineering costs, and structural costs. All of these details are under the settings tab. We click on there. For each one of these, we can fine tune for a specific customer. What's the cost per hour for an electrician, the time to wire a motor, time for final testing. So for each one of these, we get into the details of the gearbox, the motor that's currently used, and so forth. And we can come to the cost estimate to see, does smart motor make sense for the customer? So one of the many tools that Lenze offers here to show the benefits of our products. With that, I'll shift over and hand it off to Steve, who will take us through some of the VFD solutions we have for conveying.
So we're going to talk about quickly talk about our suite of VFDs and some features of these that are specific to the conveyance applications. So starting with our general portfolio, I'm sure many of you are at least familiar with these, if not intimately familiar, or at least aware of these product variants. This is our whole i500 line of products. So starting from the left, we have our cabinet drives available up to 150 horsepower constant torque, 175 horsepower light duty or variable torque. The ProTech in the middle, our say premier decentralized product, gets mounted near the motor on the machine outside the cabinet. We provide that up to 100 horsepower. And the newest member is the Motec on the right side. And that is in this photograph here, that's the wall mounted version, but we can put that on the motor. And we're making that Motec up to 60 horsepower wall mount, up to 30 horsepower motor mount. It's a completely connectorized, decentralized, so really quick to apply in the field, quick to move, quick to replace if necessary, and really so far been very well accepted by the conveyance industries. Got a photo up at the top there. They were in the top right. We were at PAC Expo last week, and it was just a great showcase for a lot of our products that a lot of conveyor OEMs are using. You can see there a bunch of those ProTech drives lined up for this sample conveyance application at PAC Expo, and that's really where the bulk of our portfolio for the conveyance industry are in these decentralized products. So the ProTech, like pictured there, but also the Motec. And recently we've had some success with the Motec. We've gotten listed on the GM or General Motors specification with the Motec, as well as Amazon and Walmart. So if you have machine builders in your territories that you distribute to that build machines for Amazon, GM, or Walmart, you may get requests for Motec or ProTech for those OEMs or those machine builders to meet the customer requirements there. Just a brief description of what's the difference between these three series of products. So starting from the left again, those are cabinet drives. Have to go inside a cabinet. They're IP20 rated. They are modular, as you can see here. The control units are separate from the power units. You can kind of easily apply different field buses to different power units, and kind of minimizes what you have to stock, and you can easily put something together for a particular requirement very quickly from your stock. Zero clearance mounting, side by side with no spacing, very compact, very efficient. Moving to the center here, we have the ProTech that's available up to 100 horsepower. Still very compact, but it is outside the cabinet, machine mount, indoor, outdoor rated, very harsh environments. There's UV inhibitors in that plastic. It's a polycarbonate, so really robust and really great for harsh environments. And again, over to the right, that's our Motec. And you can see up the images at the top, several variants of the standard Motec, and then also the motor-mounted Motec. As I said, we'll be doing the motor-mounted version up to 30 horsepower and the wall-mounted version all the way up to 60 horsepower. Again, completely decentralized and completely connectorized. Some of the features that are common throughout that entire product line with regards to conveyance. All these products can, of course, operate AC induction motors, open loop, volts per hertz, open loop vector, closed loop vector. We can also control synchronous permanent magnet motors, open loop. All these products can provide 200% peak torque for starting for 3 or 4 seconds, 150% torque for 1 minute. We offer a plethora of field bus connectivity. All the main modern Ethernet-based field buses, EtherCAT, Ethernet IP, Modbus TCP IP, Profi Net, as well as some of the legacy serial-based field buses like CAN, Modbus RTU, and Profibus. Although these products look entirely different, they all use the same commissioning tools. They all have the same addresses or indices. So if you did start using our cabinet product, way back in 2016 when we launched it, and next week you decide to use a Motec for a particular application, even though it's brand new, it's got the same look and feel, the same behavior, the same addresses and register numbers you're used to. So the difference is really just the mechanical mounting, the location, the packaging, and connectorization. But at their heart, they're really just repackaging of the same product for particular applications and environments. Some of the unique features of these products, especially with regards to conveyance. First one, of course, a hot topic for the last several years, energy savings. So we've incorporated an eco mode in all these products, which it's particularly in the conveyance industry, when there is a light load on the conveyor or no load on the conveyor may still be running at its rated speed or at its set point, but there's no packages. There's no load on the conveyor. All these drives, VFDs, can sense that condition, and they will reduce the motor voltage in those conditions. They'll keep the frequency the same, so the belt speed is the same. Or the conveyance speed, I should say, is the same. But the motor voltage will be reduced, and that amounts to a pretty significant energy savings. And this happens in milliseconds. So as soon as the load comes back or packages start being put back on the conveyor, that motor voltage goes right back up within milliseconds, and you're back up to full load. But it's for those idle times or very lightly loaded times, we're reducing the motor voltage, so essentially reducing the power and saving some energy. We also have a configurable SRAMP. So configurable, in fact, that you could actually make what amounts to be a sinusoidal motion profile if you wanted to. So if you're moving, fragile material or liquids or anything that would not benefit from a lot of jerk when the conveyor starts or stops, we have a highly configurable SRAMP that's very effective and completely configurable. Like I said, you could make it so it's a completely sinusoidal profile if you'd like. Another great feature, we incorporated this a couple of years ago in this whole suite of products. You may see this called in some of our documentation a switch off positioning function. I think particularly a more effective name is a repeatable stop function. So what we've incorporated here, if you turn this feature on, we can stop the conveyance in a very repeatable position, independent of the set point. So in this example down here, we have 2 set points. We have a 50 hertz set point and a 10 hertz set point. And, partway through the application, we switch from the higher set point to the lower set point. If we have a deceleration when we're at the higher set point, we go by the standard ramp time. And in this example, that amounts to about 125 rotations of the motor to get to a stop. If we switch to the lower speed, and then again, we provide a stop command, we're going to delay the stop such that we still achieve the 125 motor rotations. So whether you provide a stop command from a fast speed or a slow speed, you're still going to get the same amount of distance or travel after the stop command. You don't have to turn this feature on, but if stopping in a relative position is somewhat advantageous to the application, this is something that's built in. No need for an encoder. It's all calculated in our firmware to try to give you consistent, repeatable stop locations. Also, all these products have an STO or safe torque off function, so you can easily integrate functional safety into the conveyance. And we do have the highest rating you can get for STO, which is a SIL level 3, performance level E. And our STO is compatible with active sensors and passive sensors. And even with the active sensors, you could actually even trigger a safe stop 1 after or before the STO if you'd like. So very compatible with the active and passive sensors that are on the market. Very easy to apply. It's a relatively low cost option if you want to just integrate the safety right into the VFD with all these products. Here's some things that are just unique to this latest Motec product. And these kind of are, I don't want to say showstoppers, but they're a pretty big deal depending on the application. Starting on the left there, eliminating brake resistors in regenerative applications. The Motec has a regenerative front end. So for applications that have regenerated energy, for lifting and lowering, vertical carousels, decline conveyors, where there might be some regenerated energy that with a traditional VFD, you'd have to apply a separate brake resistor. That's no more the case with the Motec. Just as much as the Motec can drive a motor, you can regen. So 100% regen continuously, 150% regen for a minute, 200% regen for 3 seconds. And just eliminate the need for brake resistors. In decentralized applications, it's always a challenge to mount a brake resistor. It generates heat. It's a shock hazard. You got to find a suitable place to mount it, and generally you'd want to protect it IP55 or IP65. All that goes away with the Motec with the regenerative capability built into it. Just eliminate those brake resistors. Secondly, IO link compatibility. So a lot of conveyor OEMs are moving to these IO link sensors. It's kind of like the USB of automation. They're very plug and play, not sophisticated cabling, no EMC shielding required, very, very easy to apply. We offer a variant today of this Motec product where you can directly connect IO link sensors. So, proximity sensors, temperature, lux, really anything. And, you're just limited by what is available in the IO link world, which is pretty significant. And pretty soon, sometime in 2025, we'll have firmware for this Motec product that will do some positioning. And then that opens up a whole world of IO link encoders, incremental encoders, absolute encoders that you'll be able to take right into this Motec and do positioning applications. So again, these are unique to the Motec specifically. These features are not in the ProTech or the cabinet drive. But the Motec is really where we see our future going with the conveyance industries in general. So we did incorporate them into this latest product.